in this lecture, we'll be talking about the remaining questions, further questions. This is a very famous scientist, Carl von Frisch. He also won a Nobel Prize. So we'll see for what later in the question. Let's come to the waggle dance very quickly. So what is the waggle dance? This was asked in the question, that which animal. So this animal, let's see the traits here. So first of all, this animal has to be intelligent, social. This has to have a food which requires many other insects to collect it. This has to have a variation in the colony, let's say, where some of the animals are assigned to find food, where some only go when they find food, and there is a lot of animals, other animals which require food. Alright, so which of the category fulfills all these criteria? We only come to the honeybees. We'll see how other animals get their food as well. So this is the waggle dance, where a honeybee comes back to the nest after finding a food. That's the honeybee flew. It finds its food here in some flower. Then it will come back to the nest. After coming back to the nest, it will do a dance sort of thing, a certain movement. Either it will do like this or it may do like this. Alright, it move. By this movement, other honeybees will find out that okay, the food is supposed to be in this direction, and let's say this far. Let's say it's 10 kilometers far, it's 500 meters away. So it will depend on the radius of this circle. Alright, so this is the waggle dance. As you can see here, if it moves in this direction, just a second. Okay, so if it's moving in this direction, let's say anti-clockwise, then it's here. It's moving in this direction. It may also propose it's somewhere here or here, and whatever the function is further. Okay, let's now talk about the other animals which are seen in the question, because they are also very important for us to read about. These are a set of butterflies, and this is a dragonfly. This is an aphid, very much used in the mosquito control. Okay, these are honeybee, the bumblebee, and the wasp. This is also sometimes known as bhavra. Okay, so butterfly belong to the order Lepidoptera. Not very important for us to know, just an information. It includes insects and scaled insects with scaled wings. They have slender bodies, long antennas, 4 large, often colorful wings. Butterflies we are talking about. So they undergo a complete metamorphosis. What is metamorphosis? Where an egg develops into a pupa or an insect-like animal, and then it transforms into a butterfly after coming out from its pupa. So this is complete metamorphosis. They are primarily known for their delicate beauty, etc., etc. But adult butterflies primarily feed on nectar from flowers using their long tubular proboscis. So it's not a social animal. The adult butterfly will go, feed its food, and come back. Alright, it's not concerned with telling others where the food is. Okay, so there's no colony of butterflies as such. There's no queen butterfly, etc., etc. When we talk about the dragonflies, they belong to the order Odonata, insects with elongated bodies and large compound eyes. So it's a very different order. Elongated bodies, large compound eyes, because they are predatory. Alright, they have long slender bodies, 2 pair of wings, large multifaceted eyes, and they are strong flyers and are known for their exceptional maneuverability. What is maneuverability? That means they are able to change their direction, height very, very quickly, because they need to be very fast. And why do we need to be fast? They need to be fast because they want to hunt others, just like civets. Okay, so they undergo an incomplete metamorphosis where nymphs live in water before transforming into adult dragonflies. Alright, so they are predators. Adult dragonflies are predators. They feed on the other insect, and diet consists mainly of other insects such as mosquitoes, flies, butterflies, and even other dragonflies. So they are a harsh predator. Alright, they eat mosquitoes very much, very fondly. That's why they are introduced where mosquitoes populations are quite a lot, and they are an organic way to control the mosquito crisis. When we talk about the honeybees, they belong to the family Aphidae and genus Apis. They have robust bodies, so this is all we know. Social behavior is a primary thing in them. They live in large colonies. So this is the animal that needs to tell about where the food is to the other people, other animals. There's a queen, worker bees, and drones. And they play a crucial role in pollination, well known for producing honey and beeswax. They are also very, let's say, beneficial for humans in a direct way. They undergo a complete metamorphosis, starting as eggs, then progressing through larval and pupal stages, becoming adult bees. So they are also known as pollinator, etc. And worker bees collect nectar from flowers with their long proboscis and store it in a special stomach known as honey stomach. The byproduct of this is honey and bee wax. Okay. So wasps, they are also similar to honeybees. All right, they have slender bodies. Not very important. Wasps are not very important for us, but it's this important that they are predators. All right, they feed on other insects, spiders, and even small vertebrae. So small wasps are known as scavengers, feeding on decaying organic matter or food waste, and certain wasps are parasitic as well. Okay, they lay their egg inside other animals. So it's very dangerous species, sometimes even dangerous to humans. Let's talk about the scientist we earlier read. Was Karl Richard von Frisch, and he was a German Austrian ethologist. He spent 11 years, you see, in studying the same thing, the Waggle dance. Okay, so he received the Nobel Prize in Physiology in 1973, along with Nicholas Timbergen and Konrad Lorenz. His work centered on the investigation of sensory perception of the honeybee, and he was one of the first to translate the meaning of the Waggle dances. The Waggle dances was first observed by the Aristotle. Well, it goes to 400 BC. But when we talk about the Waggle dance, Karl von Frisch is the person we should refer to. He also won a Nobel Prize for this. Indian Express in the next question told us about the glowing mushrooms in Meghalaya. So this we'll cover in the source tracing. Let's not hop on to this now. Further, let us see whether mushrooms have which type of properties. So these are name of some mushroom, reishi mushroom, gucci mushroom, etc. Psilocybe cubensis. The examples are not important. Medicinal properties, yes. Yes, no, not important. Psychoactive. So mushrooms are well famous as psychoactive drugs. Yes, yes. Insecticidal. So this is yes. This is an example of the insecticidal mushroom. Bioluminescent, yes. Omphalotus olerarius, and the growing mushrooms of Meghalaya also. This Rhoridomyces phyllosteris, a new mushroom species discovered in the forest of Meghalaya, grow bright green. Okay, so let us see, why do mushroom need to have these all medicinal or such properties? Just a second. So again, when we talk about the mushrooms, okay, so first thing what we know is that they have chemicals. They release chemicals. They are both psychoactive. They have certain effects on humans, both psychoactive and medicinal. So this is a byproduct thing. Okay, mushrooms do not produce chemicals for us to get high or get cured of some diseases. So this is a byproduct. But when we talk about the insecticidal and bioluminescent properties, so insecticidal because they have predators too, they have threats too, and they don't want them to eat them. All right, they don't want the threats to eat the mushrooms themselves. So that is why they have insecticidal properties. They can display such insecticidal properties. But there are other insects or other, let's say, animals which work as a pollinator to the mushrooms, which, let's say, carry their spores. So for them to get attracted towards them, they display bioluminescent categories, let's say, properties, sorry. Okay. So bioluminescence refers to ability of organisms to produce light. Certain mushrooms exhibit bioluminescence, which serves different purposes. It's believed to play a role in attracting insects. The glowing light emitted by bioluminescent mushrooms can act as a lure for insects, which are attracted to the light source. So you must have seen insects are often attracted towards the light sources. In general also, you can see many insects flying near the bulbs or street lights. So bioluminescence is such a similar thing. It attracts them and they think it's some kind of food there. All right. So this interaction between mushrooms and insects may aid in spore dispersal, as insects unknowingly carry mushroom spores to new location. New location, that means more area for the mushroom. Okay. Just a second. Let's now come to the microorganisms, this question. So the solution to this question was very simple. We know that they have medicinal properties. Just a second, I'll explain here. So they have medicinal properties. This question was asked in 2022 also. They have psychoactive properties. Even the recently USA also unbanned in many states the consumption of mushrooms and weed also. Okay, then there is a what, let's say, bioluminescence. So this Indian Express also covered this very recently. Okay. So all three statements are correct. Let's now talk about the microorganisms. So this is an, let's say, symbol to the microorganisms. When we talk about the micro, we talk about 10 to the power minus 6 meters or lesser than this. So these organisms has been there. They have been there since the starting of our planet. Of course, they came before humans came, or mostly any other animals came, and they have survived till now, till present, and they are going to survive even after we are extinct. There are very few things that can kill microorganisms completely. All right. Okay, one more thing, the variety and the diversity of the microorganisms far exceed any other diversity present in the earth or on the earth. So when we talk about the sum means one, even one in any infinite number of diversity the microorganisms have in this world. So even if one of them displays this property, then it will make our statement correct. So what properties is it being, let's say the question is asking that some have to be there before the, let's say after the boiling point of the water, and some have to be before the freezing point of the water. All right. So why is water so important? Water is so important because it forms the innermost portion of any cell. The cell shape, even of a prokaryotic cell, is largely form of water. There are enzymes which function in a certain range. That is also why when we get, just a second, when we get exposed to very high or very low temperatures, we cannot survive because our enzymes get denatured. Our organ starts to fail and we eventually face death. But when we talk about microorganisms, these do not have the similar survivability problems. They have been surviving almost forever. So let's talk about the, okay, one more thing you must have seen, you must have heard about the Taq polymerase. Thermoacusatous polymerase reaction, which is PCR. This was already asked in PYQ. All right. So this comes from a bacteria which survives in the very high temperatures. Okay, let us talk about the first criteria above 100 degrees Celsius. So Thermococcus coedocarens. So this archaeon is capable of thriving in high temperature, including deep sea hydrothermal vents. Temperature can reach well over 100 degrees Celsius. Another examples are given. You can take a screenshot. Okay, the second criteria we need to talk about is below 0 degrees Celsius. So examples are this. Psychrobacter. So this can survive and grow in cold environment, including the Arctic also, Antarctic also, where temperature can drop well below freezing. Okay. One is below pH 3. That means very acidic. Okay, so Acidobacillus ferroxidans. This acidophilic bacterium can thrive in highly acidic environments such as acid mine drainage and sulfuric acid pools. One is Picrophilus oshmi. Okay, so what we need to see when we talk about high diversity organisms, and in the question, if the sum is coming, then all statements will be correct. Because bacterias, viruses, they can survive just anywhere. Okay, so no doubt about this. Okay, let's move further. This is PCR reaction I was talking about. So it's polymerase chain reaction. It's used to, is very much used in forensic also, DNA analysis also. So what happens when we go towards forensic or a crime scene, or we want a DNA, then very small DNA is captured from the scene or as a sample. So this DNA has to be replicated in the artificially, let's say. So in order to replicate it, there are some processes, as you can see here: denaturing, annealing, extinction. So here this Taq polymerase enzyme is used in this thermal cycler. Okay, this Taq polymerase is obtained from one specific bacteria, this Thermus acuticus. So it can thrive in high temperature and including hot springs and geothermal areas. Particularly famous for its heat resistance DNA polymerase known as Taq polymerase. So it's widely used in polymerase chain reaction (PCR), a DNA amplification technique used in various molecular biology and genetic research applications. Okay, so this is a very simple thing that we must be already knowing about. Okay, let's talk about the next question. The question was, which of these animals is using a stick? So animal must be intelligent, must be eating insects, must be intelligent enough to make a tool, must be intelligent enough to understand the objective and to generationally fulfill it. It's one thing to make a tool, it's another thing to make a workable tool. Okay, so let's come to our first animal. This is a fishing cat. It's also found in India. So as the name and picture tells us, this is not someone who eats insects. It eats majorly fishes. Okay. Another thing is this very cute animal known as orangutan. Well, it looks rather orange, just as its name says, and it's primarily arboreal. It's the largest arboreal species. In fact, arboreal means living on the trees. So many insects, many trees, many logs here. Intelligent also qualifies our criteria. Let's hop on to this next one. This is otter, mainly found in the USA, whether north or south. Okay, this is also not the one who can make a tool. I don't think he has brain enough to make a workable tool to scrap out insects, understand its objective, and also to fulfill it. But let's see further. The fourth one, the sloth bear. So this is also the one who fulfills our criteria. It seems to be intelligent enough. It seems to be close to trees also. And it seems to be able to make a workable tool as well. Let us see. So orangutans are the largest arboreal mammal, spending most of their time in trees. Long, powerful arms and grasping hands and feet allow them to move through the branches. These ape shares 96.4% of their DNA or genes with us and highly intelligent creatures. They have been observed as using sticks for fishing out bugs from bark. Researchers have also spotted orangutans using a stick to extract seeds from fruit and scrape insects from a hole in the tree in the wild. The name orangutan means Nen of the forest in Malayan language, that means Malaysian peninsula. In the lowland forest where they reside, orangutans live solitary existence. They feast on wild fruits like lychee, mangosteens, and figs, and slough water from holes in trees. They make nests in trees or vegetation to sleep at night and rest during the day. Okay, so this is one picture where we can see them picking a stick in a termite hole, and it will eat the termites that will come on this stick. So this answers our question. Okay. Fishing cat, no need to know much about this. So it's well adapted to aquatic habitats. That's all we need to know about. Just a second. Okay, webbed feet and a partially waterproof coat. Otters, they are semi-aquatic mammals belonging to family. This is not important. So they are mostly found in the USA and primarily consist of, their diet is primarily consist of fish and other aquatic prey. Sloth bear is important for us. Male ursinus. It's a medium-sized bear species native to Indian subcontinent. It's also mostly found in, let's say, central India, Rajasthan, Western Ghats, many places. Long shaggy fur and distinct snout. They are primarily feed on ants, termites, and fruits. They also have a unique ability to suck up insects using their lips, making them a specialized insectivorous species. But they do not use any kind of stick. This behavior is not displayed in them. So it was a confusing question. Okay. Okay. So sloth bear is found across the country, various places, Western Ghats, etc. Fishing cat is found in India also, Western Ghats, Central India, some part of the Western Ghat. So this is also found in India. Okay, this is hunting is a big threat to this. Okay, so the answer to our question was orangutan. Neither the fishing cat nor the other animals such as sloth bear or otter. Okay, let's now come to the next question, hydrofluorocarbon question. So I'll just hop on to the answer here. The hydrofluorocarbons, these are these. Let's talk a small statement about their, let's say, composition. So they are class of synthetic chemicals. One most important thing you must remember, they are not natural, they are synthetic chemicals. They are used as refrigerant, aerosol, propellant, and foam blowing agents. They are widely used in various industries and applications, including air conditioning, refrigeration, and insulation. So they do not deplete the ozone layer. Please remember this statement also. This can come. So they are potent greenhouse gases. Okay. The question can be asked that HFC, which of the following statements are correct? Just a second. So which of the following statements are correct? HFC do not deplete ozone. HFC are greenhouse gas. HFCs are synthetic chemicals. And HFCs are used in refrigeration. Okay, so all four statements are correct, but the people will mark either 2 or 3 statements are correct. Okay. So efforts to mitigate the impact of SSC led to the adoption of the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol. Please remember these also, Kigali and Montreal Protocol. So this amendment phases down the production and consumption of HFCs globally, and it uses specific targets for each country. Okay. And what is it doing? That it wants us to go to further alternatives such as HFOs and natural refrigerant like ammonia and carbon dioxide, hydrofluoroolefins. The transition away from HFC is crucial and very required. So we can read about this. Okay. So they are primarily used for cooling and refrigeration. They were developed to replace stratospheric ozone depleting substances that are currently being phased out, such as chlorofluorocarbons. Okay. So under the Montreal Protocol, so to this protocol only Kigali Amendment happened, which is also phasing out the hydrofluorocarbons. Okay, so they are entirely man-made, this we already know, and they are used in refrigeration and air conditioning, solvents for fire protections, aerosols, but they are not used to making lubricants. So now let us see why they are not used to make lubricants. Okay, so one thing is lack of lubricating properties. So they do not have lubricating properties only. So they have limited lubricating properties, and they do not reduce friction between moving surfaces or prevent wear and tear. Alright, one thing is compatibility issues. So they are not compatible with many material commonly used in lubricant formulations, such as mineral oils, synthetic oils, and additives. So they may cause a degradation or adverse reaction with these materials, compromising the stability and performance of the lubricant. Okay, so this was the solution to all these questions which we initially thought as bouncers. In the next lecture, we'll do a source tracing of these questions. That why is UPSC asking these, where are they coming from, and what do we need to read in order to answer these questions. Alright, so see you in the next lecture. Thank you very much. I hope you learned a lot. This is Yatharth here signing off. Have a good day. Keep studying and be bright.